Good boy, Tucker.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome.
Work smarter where you want.
Consistency is key.
And remember, if it's not in Redtail, it never happened.
This is learning at its most fun.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on another one of our Thursday webinars. My name's Curtis. I'm one of the trainers, and welcome to Day-to-Day Habits using the Redtail CRM. So essentially, this is going to be a pretty short webinar. We're going to go over, like I said, just day-to-day habits, even just some regular things you should be doing in your CRM to make sure that nothing's actually fallen through the cracks. And so what I'm going to do is actually jump over here to the CRM. And so first things first, what I always suggest when you log in, if your page is set up for your main loading page to be the Today page, which is the default, you can come in here and look at Today, and you'll see the first thing is Things to Do Today. This pulls directly from your calendar. And so I can see right away that, I have an all-day event right at the top. That just means it's a task that needs to be done at some point today. Then I also have like a client review at 8:30. I have my whole schedule right here. I can see what's happening today. Now, also, more importantly than knowing what's happening today is making sure I know what I didn't complete from the day before or even the week or month before if I have past due items. And so if you want to take a look and see what hasn't been done yet, all you have to do is come over to the right-hand side and click on Past Due, and that's going to automatically load up our past due items. Now, you'll see mine goes back till April 3rd. I have an appointment or a meeting or a task that should have been done on that day. And so again, these are items that were still scheduled. They have not been completed that are before today's date. Now, when you first come in the morning, and if you take a look at your past due, and if there's certain things that you want to move to today's date, all you have to do is on the left-hand side, select those items. So you can go through. Most of the time, if it's an appointment, those shouldn't be moving, but like the all-day events, I can say that these are items that needed to be done today. I can select them, and once you do, in the top right-hand corner, you'll see we have activity options. Now from here, you'll see you have bulk options like complete, reassign, reschedule, but the rollover option is what I'm going to use today. Rollover will actually take the activity and change the due date or the start date from when it was scheduled to actually today's date. So once I click that and I hit rollover, those few items that I selected are now going to be on my main Today page. So let's go back. I'll click on Today in the top left-hand corner. And now you'll see I have more items right here. So I just did a bulk rollover of those items. So now I know this is on my calendar for today. This is what I need to accomplish. Also, if I jump back to past due, and again, if I see this whole long list and I know that I actually did some of these items, so I can go through and select them. Then go to the top right, I can choose activity options and I can complete them. So I want to make sure that past due stays with as little information on there as possible. I really don't want to have anything on my past due, but it is one of the first things that you do want to check during the day. I want to make sure that anything that hasn't been accomplished or completed yet before today gets marked done or actually marked to today, so it's going to actually be completed from there. Other things you can do is also take a look at your upcoming. So if I click on upcoming, I can get a good idea of like what my week's going to look like. So I can still see it shows me today's items, and then below that, what's happening after. And so I really take a good hard look of, hey, this is the thing that's coming up. Maybe I can move things earlier to today. I can get ahead of schedule. So that way I'm not actually dealing with past due items later. All right, back on the Today page, other things that you can take a look at is right below where we have workflow tasks due today. As I trip over my words, sorry about that. But the workflow tasks that are due today is for your actual workflows. If there's anything assigned to you that's due for today, this is where it'll show. But what I think is a better place to look is actually in the top right-hand corner here, where it says workflow tasks. If I click on this, it's going to show all the open tasks in order based on the due date. So again, these are things that are past due because workflow tasks aren't actually calendar items, they're reminders. So I can see that, hey, I was supposed to run the plan report on the 23rd of April. So I want to get these items taken care of. All right, make sure that I'm actually all caught up all the way down here. I got quite a few items here, down to the 7th right here. Now, again, if you want to export those information, you can actually just hit export. Or if you hit view all, this will just take you to the workflows page. And the workflows page, again, you can also access on the left-hand side here. But what this page shows is actually sort of more an overall view of what are we currently up to date with on our processes. And so you'll see on this column where it says current step due, I can see that I had a workflow that was supposed to be a step that was supposed to be completed on the 22nd, one on the 23rd, one on the 7th. Those are the items that I'm behind in already. So I want to make sure that I can jump in there and get everything caught up. Jumping back to the Today page one more time, I can actually scroll down and then we have reminders down here. Today's birthdays will show you any contact record who has a birthday for today. And same for today's reviews. That'll show you anybody who has a reminder that is scheduled for today, but those should always be scheduled on the calendar around that time. Also in regards to reminders, if I want to see all of them, I can click on reminders up here at the top. And then I'll see, here's the upcoming birthday reminders. So if I want to make sure that I'm managing and if I'm sending out birthday cards, this is where I want to do it from. I can see that on the 12th, we have Meredith Palmer is having her 60th birthday. And then Nellie Beltram is turning 51 on the 12th as well. I can see that information, stay up to date. It's a daily thing I need to check. You know, and it might even be not necessarily daily, it could be monthly. I'll be sure and show you different ways that you can pull monthly reports for birthdays. Other tasks that aren't necessarily on the calendar can also show up in your opportunities. So if you use the opportunity tracker, you can also come up here and click on opportunities. This page is a little different than clicking on opportunities on the left-hand side. The reason I'm doing it from the Today page up here is this shows me what the next step is and when I need to do that next step by. So here's essentially another past due item that's within 30 days. I was supposed to call and gather more information by the 18th. And so this shows me what I can accomplish. Now, because an opportunity is not a task, I would go and click on inside that opportunity to manage it from there and then push it forward. So once I do that item, I can then push it to the next stage. And again, I'm briefly talking about a lot of different features. So if at any time you want to get more in depth with some of our features, I do want to highly suggest coming up to our question mark in the top right-hand corner and then choosing Redtail Help Desk, where you can definitely take a look at other features that we have. I do know we'll be doing opportunities and reports and things like that on our Thursday webinars as well. So definitely it's something that you can check out. Another daily item that might be extremely helpful is clicking on market news up here at the top. What you'll notice from here is you can actually follow like a watch list. So you can put in certain stock symbols and see what's going on in regards to that information. We also have market news headlines that populate over here. So it's a great place to take a look at and get information. So you want to be updated on a daily basis. You can always click on market news to get that information. All right, so another thing, other than just checking what needs to be done or what hasn't been done, is just your day-to-day activities of making notes and creating activities. So one thing we like to say is if it's not in Redtail, it never happened. So every time I have an interaction with a client, I want to make a note or I want to complete an activity. So again, if a client calls in, I want to make a note. I'm going to use my quick add icon right up here at the top, and then I can choose notes right here. Once I select my notes, I can then link it to a contact, fill out the whole bulk information of what happened in regards to that note, and categorize it. If that note or if that interaction with that client requires a follow-up, I highly suggest checking the follow-up button right here. So as soon as that note is saved, it takes me in the ability to create an activity so I can then maybe make a follow-up for tomorrow. And that will then show up on my Today page for tomorrow. Make sure I get all those tasks done that need to be completed. Other things you can do is check latest notes. So up at the top, if I do click notes here, you'll see that I can see any notes made within the last 24 hours, last 3 days, or last 7 days. So if I just want to double check, hey, what's been happening recently? So I can make sure that I'm well versed in everything that's happening in the office, this is where you can take a look. Here's all the latest notes that have been added. I can see everything that's happening in my database pretty easily. All right. Another thing I do want to cover is not necessarily day-to-day tasks, but also something like maybe monthly tasks. So it's still something I'm going to do during the day, but I do searching, I do reporting on information. And so we're going to start with searching. And so if I click on contacts on the left-hand side, I have the ability up here to click on advanced search. Now, let's say in our office, we plan, we do birthdays. We send out birthday reminders or birthday cards, and I pull them at a month at a time. Instead of just saying, hey, it's their birthday today, I'm gonna reach out. I'm gonna pull a whole list of everybody's birthday for the following month. And so what I'm gonna do is narrow it down to just active clients, and we use that as a contact status. So in my type, I'm gonna choose contact. My field is then gonna be status. And then operand will be equal to, and my value is active client. So I only want to look at my active clients. On the right-hand side, I'll then choose and. And then from here, I want to pull everyone who has a date of birth month equal to June. And so in this part, I'm going to choose contact again. The field will then be date of birth month. And so you'll see I have DOB month, that's for date of birth. And I can say equal to, and it gives me the options for the actual months of the year, and I can choose June. And so once I run this, I have 11 contacts, 11 active contact records who have birthdays in June. And so maybe this is a report that I want to run, and so I can print it out, keep it on my desk if I want to make sure that I'm getting all those birthday reminders out. And all you have to do is just select all over here, choose contact options, and then reports. In this case, I'm going to choose the birthday report. And what this does, it'll download, and it'll give me this birthday report that shows the birthdays in order. So on the search page, it shows them in alphabetical order. This one's actually showing them in birthday order. So I'm gonna make this a little larger. And you'll see that Fin Investor is an active client, and his birthday is on June 1st. It actually shows the age they're turning. Same thing here. So we have Martin McFly Sr. He's turning 51 on the 12th. And this is birthday order. It's a great thing I can have. I see how I can contact them. So if you want to just give them a call, send them a birthday card, you have that information ready to print out. Other things you can do just like birthdays is also with client reviews. So with client reviews, those don't exist under the contact search. I can actually go to know your client, and this one will be next review month. And so similar thing, I can say next review month equal to June, and I'm doing it for active clients, and I can run that search. And I can see I have one client that I have to do a review with next month. And so that's a good way that a daily practice or even weekly, monthly practice, see what I have to deal with to make sure that nobody's falling through the cracks. In regards to reporting, we have options over here by clicking reports. We have activity reports. Now, we already looked at our today page where it had things to do today and upcoming, but maybe I want to run a more detailed activity report. And so from here, I can choose activity reports and then activities by contact. In this case, if I want to look for everything up in a certain week or maybe a certain month, I can choose filter over on the right-hand side. And this gives me the ability to control what I'm viewing in this report. And so I'm going to choose today's date, and we're going to go forward. Let's just go to the end of the month. So the 30th of May. And what I'm going to do is maybe if I have multiple advisors, I only want to deal with contacts who are Rick's clients, or maybe Rick's and Nora's clients. I can narrow it down. You have those options. Also from here, I can choose open, completed, or open and complete. In this case, because I'm looking forward for activities, most of the time you only want to look at activities that are still open. If it's in the future, I don't need to worry about things that have been completed if they were already scheduled in the future. And then once I select all that information, all I have to do is just choose apply filters. And then it changes my report, and you can see here's all the activities that are happening for the whole company, not just my activities in the next month. If you do want to do it for specific people, you can go back to filter, and down at the bottom, you'll see activity attendees. And you can select who is assigned to these activities that you want to see. Coming back over to reports, one thing that I do love to show is if you go to contact reports, and this is actually a new report called contacts with no upcoming activities. So again, I went to reports on the left-hand side, contact reports, and then down near the bottom says contacts with upcoming activities. And what I can do here is I can filter. And if I want to see any contact who doesn't have an activity in a certain date range, or I can even just remove the end date, which will make it go for anything in the future. And I can say I want to see just active status, and I can apply that. What this is showing me is here's every single active client who does not have anything scheduled on the calendar right now. So it's really useful, gives me a good idea to take a look of, do I need to deal with any of these contacts? The inverse of this report is looking back who hasn't had an activity in the past certain amount of time. What that is called is our no contact report. And so clicking reports again on the left, and then contact reports, and then this time down at the bottom, right underneath the contacts with no activity report, is called no contact. Once I select no contact, what this does is give me the ability to look backwards to see who has not had any notes or completed activities in the past either 15 to 365 days. So for instance, if I want to see who of my active clients has not had any notes or completed activities in the past 6 months, I can easily do that. Now, the goal of this report is to technically have nobody on this. You know, if I'm supposed to be doing some sort of interaction with my clients every 6 months or once a year, and that's what my filters are, and there's people on here, these are the people who fell through the cracks. So again, these are going to be first priority. These are the people I need to be reaching out to make sure that we're doing our job, maintaining that relationship with our clients.
Thanks so much for joining us today for this particular session. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call at 800-206-5030, option 3 for support, or just shoot us an email over to support@redtailtechnology.com. Thanks a lot and have a great day.